Alright, Habs fans, I don't want to waste any time. Quick little video today. Let's get right into the news. First of all, Eric Staal, potential trade. We know that the Habs might be looking for a bit more center depth to help them out here, especially with guys like Danault with 0 goals, young guys like Jake Evans maybe needing a night or two off when they hit that rookie wall, as they say. But here's an article on thehockeywriters.com asking if the Canadiens should target Eric Staal. Speaking of Sabres players that could be on the move, TVA Sport Jean-Charles Lajoie recently suggested the Canadiens should target Eric Staal before the April 12th trade deadline. That is assuming that Sabres become sellers at the NHL trade deadline, which they probably will. It was a bit of a surprise when Staal was traded to the Sabres in the first place, and if the team decides to dump assets ahead of next season, the 36-year-old center might be willing to leave the team and play with a contender. He's a pending UFA, but Staal has a 10-team no-trade list, and it's not clear which teams would be on that list. The struggling Canadiens have a GM that isn't afraid to make moves or take a swing when it comes to trades. If he thinks there's a player out there that he can add to get the club back on the right track, he'll likely consider it. Now, I can see some people having concerns with the Canadiens adding another big, slow centerman, right? Instead of going for somebody that might help them for many years to come. A lot of people in Montreal right now are talking about whatever it takes to get a #1 center. They haven't had a true #1 center in a long time. But a guy like Eric Staal, if everything else on the team starts to iron itself out, including the defense, which we'll get to in a minute with another trade, then a guy like Eric Staal could help fill up down the middle and help, again, like guys like Jake Evans, like I mentioned, who might hit a wall. Or maybe if you want to scratch Danault for a night, okay, that's maybe what you take a look at. Alright, sticking with the HockeyWriters.com, as per Eric Engels, very respected Habs beat reporter, he mentions that, of course, trading, especially in the Canadian division, is hard with all the restrictions and everything going on with quarantine and things like that. But here's a very interesting snippet from what Eric Engels said. Eric mentions that the Canadiens likely see a need to add prior to the deadline. The moves to save cap space, like the Paul Byron waiver thing we saw last week, have not just been to save for the bonus overages that young players like Nick Suzuki and Jesperi Kotkaniemi are likely to reach, but also to create space and flexibility ahead of the trade deadline. Eric then mentions Mattias Ekholm as a good target for the Habs, noting that Bergevin will most likely be at the top of the list to be interested in him. Ekholm would be a good fit on the Habs roster. He provides solid defensive play, good puck-moving abilities that the Canadiens lack, and he has experience playing with Shea Weber in Nashville. Now, I think that's honestly even a complete underestimation of Mattias Ekholm's abilities here. This guy, to me, is one of the top-flight two-way defensemen in the National Hockey League. If the Habs get this guy, this is way more of a home run than you think it is. You're not adding another Joel Edmondson here. Like, no disrespect to him, but Mattias Ekholm really is a cut above when it comes to defensemen. The article then goes on to mention that if Bergevin were able to make a deal with Nashville for Ekholm, the cost would not be low and salary would need to go back to Nashville, complicating any deal. That being said, an upgrade on the blue line that can defend and help the transition game would be welcomed. Big time. Now, if I'm the Habs, I'm going all in for Ekholm, even if it's complicated. And we heard Bergevin mention it during the week off, that making trades this year is way harder than it is even in a regular year when it's already hard. But I think, hey, I heard the guys on On Jase this morning on RDS, Denis Gauthier, former player, they were talking about the Habs. They basically said, dude, not everybody gets a window to be a Stanley Cup contender. And when you get that window, you can't go half in. You have to go all the way into your window and take advantage of it, because it's a really big blessing and opportunity when you get a window to compete for a Stanley Cup. So you got to go all in. And moves like Ekholm, like Staal, that's how you go all in. Alright guys, let me know what you think about this one. Who else should be on the Habs radar here? Because clearly they do need a little bit of help in the forward group and on the back end. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.